moving to Japan. I'm flying out 2 weeks on Friday. Hopefully, by the time you see this, I am there. Probably will have been there for a little while because I don't plan on doing any video editing on my holiday. So, what is going to happen is we're going to be there for 2 and a bit weeks together, me and Jack. And then at the end of those 2 weeks, Jack flies home and I stay behind. Yes, I'm gonna stay, use up as much of that tourist visa as I possibly can, and I'm gonna get some Japanese lessons while I'm there and hopefully make some videos. But I thought it'd be interesting to do a couple of vloggy bits before I go about the prep. Because let me tell you, this has not throwing a spanner in the works because basically, oh god, there's like no light because it's so foggy outside. This was a semi last minute decision, so it wasn't long before Christmas that I changed the flight and made the decision to do this. So this sort of like changes some reading plans. I think if I wasn't doing that, oh god, my shoulder is still really sore. I need to put that down. If I wasn't doing this, I would probably do a lovely video like, here's my goals for the year, here's my reading plans, and I think a lot of that is still going to be the same. I still want to at least make a start on the Russian classics. I would love to finally restart Malazan because it's been a long time. But it's the more immediate books. So I am going to finish this before I leave. I think I'll probably end up finishing it with like a week and a half to spare, maybe two. But yeah, I've been really pushing through to get this one finished so that I can wrap up the trilogy. Weirdly, God Emperor of June has become the like the palette cleanser. Like, it seems so weird to have a June book as a palette cleanser, but because this is so big and actually the chapters in God Emperor are really short, so it's actually really nice to just dip in and read the next little bit. I would love to. Where is it? This is like the worst way of doing this. Yeah, where is it? There. This one. That was pointless. Shadow of the Gods. I really want to read it while it's winter. So what I think I will do is start it physically, and that might happen in the next couple of days, even though I've not finished this yet, just because it's supposed to snow, and I feel like I was saving it for the winter, so I might start it, but then I'm not taking any physical books with me. I have already bought it digitally, so I think I will start the book that I own and then finish it off digitally while I'm out there. So the other plan then is what am I planning to read when I go? I've not planned the whole 3 months. It's nearly 3 months. That's too much. But I have put on a couple of memoirs. I've got is it Jeanette McCurdy? I've got the I'm Glad My Mum Died, because it sounds fascinating and heartbreaking, but it seems like the kind of format of book that I might enjoy on the plane. And I have started Educated, another memoir, because I found that when I was last on a plane, I tried to read a book, and I just find like epic fantasy is just a bit too much for my brain to handle during flight. So I ended up reading. Ended up starting Tokyo Vice, and that actually ended up being okay. So I might try memoirs on planes. I don't read that many memoirs, but I think they might be good. Um, and I've also added a couple other random things onto my Kobo and Kindle. So we shall see. I have already started Educated. I don't know if I said that. Because I like to wrap things up before I go on holiday, but I'm now wondering if that's not the way to go. I actually think maybe it'll be easier to pick up something I'm already reading on the plane, because I think there's a lot of brain power that goes into starting a book and getting into the world if it's fiction, or just getting into the story even if it is non-fiction. So I think actually having a book that I've started might help. And if not, I'll just watch a bunch of movies. Just come back from the hairdresser, and I think the curls are like already coming out. While I was at the hairdresser, I've been reading Educated. I bought it for the plane, and I started it because I was a bit fantasied out. But I think there's a very good chance I'll finish it before we even get on the plane, because it's, oh my god, I was not ready for how crazy these stories are. They're absolutely mental. Like, all of the booktubers who read it it was like, oh yeah, this girl who grew up not with, in a survivalist family, education, and then she gets an education, that's it. And it's like, no one prepared me for the batshit insanity of this family. And I don't even mean the survivalist stuff. I mean how much they injured themselves because their dad just did not believe in basic health and safety. Like, really intense car crashes, someone burning their leg, like full on like injury. Every time you think you've you've read the most insane thing that you could, no, it keeps going and getting worse. So we'll see if I can hold out on finishing it before then, but I don't think I can. I need to keep going with this. I need to, like, this is real life. I know that she's okay, but I need the version of her in this book to be okay. So this is the problem trying to record a vlog where your clips are about 4 or 5 weeks in between each other. So I'm just reviewing the edit so I've just reviewed the 2 clips before this after recording what you're about to see. So in the next clip, I do repeat myself a bit. I'm sorry, and also it's a weird juxtaposition to go from me talking about Educated and then back to the Japan stuff. Sorry, things will be a bit better planned next time. So I go back to talk about the Japan stuff. I do repeat myself, but I do also go a little bit more in depth if you're interested in how this came to be and what my plans are. But I will also put a timestamp to book talk if you just want to skip to where I'm at with my books and how I'm feeling. So feel free to skip ahead. Also, sorry about mic problems for maybe the next several videos because I didn't bring a mic with me. My mic's huge and it just wasn't possible, so I am relying on the phone and inbuilt mic on my camera. Yay! Ooh, new background. I am in Japan. And I'm going to be here for a little while. So, quick story time. The original plan was for me and Jack to be here for a full year. That was sort of like the dream, to come and spend some more time here. But it didn't really work out. We were sort of relying on coming on student visas and learning Japanese for a year. But it turns out new rules for over 30s meant that you have to do a lot of pre-study before you come, and Jack just didn't have the time to do that. If you're younger, I believe, if you're under 30, if you're a youthful 20-something, I believe you can still just go speak to a school, show up, start from scratch, and enjoy your time in Japan. Or you can get a working holiday visa. We've used those to be in Canada. We used the working holiday visa to be in Toronto for a year. Use those while you can. The 30s come at you fast, man. So anyway, Jack said, why don't you do it without me? And I said, no, that's too long. And like, a year is absolutely way too long to be on my own. But like, I love Jack so much for, you know, suggesting I do that, you know, being supportive. But I realised that I was still not back at work yet, and I had an opportunity because the tourist visa automatically gives you 90 days. So I thought, why not use most of those 90 days? Why not use 3 months to just come out here and do those bits that I wanted to do? So that's what I'm doing. I'm here until late April. It's very scary. So while I am out here, I am going to be taking lessons 3 times a week from a tutor. So this was sort of like the compromise. Apparently, all the schools take a break in March, so my timing wasn't great for joining a school for a month. But it's okay, I'm happy with the tutor. So I'm going to be doing that. I have some plans to go to Kyoto, which is pretty close. Nara, I've been once before, it's beautiful. So yeah, I've got some plans, and hopefully I'll take you along with me for those. And hopefully I can still keep reading along the way. So Jack and I had already booked like a 2 and a bit week holiday in Japan, like almost as soon as the borders opened. We're like, right, okay, what can we do? Also partly because we have some family out here. There is a new baby we wanted to see and meet. So we wanted to work that into our plans. So we had this holiday planned already. And I was sort of like looking at timings for my own stuff, and I realised, why don't I just stay behind? So that made the most sense time-wise. I didn't really want to fly home for 2 weeks and then fly back. That just didn't make sense. Which meant that we had the very weird experience of, I mean, me and Jack we've been together for so many years. And we go everywhere together, and you know, except for like we might have a little mini weekends away on our own occasionally, but for a big holiday it was very weird to go to the airport with him and not be joining him on the flight. That was really bizarre. It was really scary and sad. And he kept saying the same thing. He's like, it's weird that you don't have a suitcase, but you're So yes, I've said goodbye to Jack. That was a few days ago. And then I made my way to my apartment in Osaka, which is where I am right now. So I've been doing book chatter stuff on this channel for like the last year. This isn't a sign that that's gonna go away. Obviously, like I said, I'm only here for a couple of months, so it's not like I'm suddenly going to become a Japan vlog channel, but I will be for a little bit. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope that's okay. I hope that's fine. I've got a couple ideas and things I want to show you. I'm also going to do a little cut of the holiday portions of the stuff that we've done already. But I'd still quite like to chat about the books that I'm reading. So now that I've said that, I will save the Japan stuff for coming videos, and hey, while I'm here, why don't I tell you what I've been reading while I've been on holiday, and also before then. I don't think I didn't do a January wrap up, I don't think. So I'll do a quick fire talk of what I've read so far since we since it became 2023. So I finished the Lycanius trilogy. Every reviewer was right, the ending was outstanding. I was actually kind of worried for a bit there. The first half of the book, I can't really remember what my issue, not that I had a major issue, but I just wasn't enjoying it as much as the previous. I think the first book might still be my favourite, but it's all marginal, and yeah, wow, that ending was great. So read that. I read I really wanted to try and read Shadow of the Gods because, oh my god, how many times I said that I wanted to read it in the winter for that snowy vibe. We've had snow in the UK, and now I've experienced a lot of snow in Japan, and it's still, I started reading it and I realised I was just burned out on fantasy for a bit after the Lycanius trilogy, and I knew I didn't want to force myself to read it. I wouldn't enjoy it that much if I did. So Shadow of the Gods, I think I read like 2 chapters and then I put it down. I might just have to ignore the mood reader, season reader aspect and just go for it at some point. So instead, I read God Emperor of Dune. Very not seasonal. But it was like different enough from what I was reading that my brain was happy reading it. Quite different from some of the other books. I don't know if I will read more. That might be it for me. Not sure. Yeah, it was an unusual read. It was kind of interesting. It's just like a lot of philosophizing. But also like Dune being hilarious. So this is the thing, if anyone asks like why do you like Dune? You know, is it the look at political structures? Is it the look at religious tyrants? I just find a lot of it really funny. Like this god guy, the Emperor, I won't spoil who it is, but he's a giant worm. He's a giant worm. And that's so funny to me. Okay, 2 weeks of dry air and air cons and heaters has destroyed my throat. So I'm gonna try and really finish this very quickly before I die. So did June, I did Educated, because I knew memoirs, easy to read memoirs would be perfect. And they absolutely were. And then I started You Just Need to Lose Weight and Other Myths About Fat People, I think, by Aubrey Gordon. Am I remembering that right? She's the co-host on the Maintenance Phase podcast. She is hilarious. She is amazing. So well studied. I recommend everyone read it. I maybe especially thinner people. I think it's one of those books that like challenges your thinking. Like, I thought I learned a lot in the last few years, but I think even then there was like, I realised I still had that anti-fat bias hidden in there, and so I think it's always good to read those books that like make you look at yourself and inspect your own thinking a bit more. It's like one of the topics was even something that recently I was like, oh, I've had a revelations about this, and I thought it was like quite a kind revelation, and then they said no, that's that's actually not, and I went, oh, okay, no, so I've still not got this right then, okay. So yes, I recommend that a lot. And finally, the big one, I'm glad my mom died. This is obviously a huge book. I think a lot of people on BookTube, a lot of people in general, excuse me, have read it because it stars someone quite famous. I am a bit too old, I think, and I don't even know if I had access to the right channel, so I did not watch iCarly, which is what Jeanette McCurdy was on, and the other show. Like, so I didn't really know her. I know the name iCarly. I'm aware of those types of shows, but I personally don't have any like connection to her as a character or an actress or whatever. But this was so interesting. I think she's like a few years younger than me, and in a similar way to Educated. So in Educated, the person who wrote that is a couple years older than me. So in both books, I'm basically reading people who grew up at similar times to me, which I think is always really interesting and fun to read. Editing Emma back in again. So I go a little bit personal in this bit, a bit too dark and deep for a video that was just supposed to be about me saying, hey, I'm in Japan. So I'll do a quick roundup of the book here. So a lot of it covers Jeanette McCurdy's experiences with her mother. Her mother was like extremely controlling. She forced her into an acting career at the age of 6. She gave her an eating disorder, which is like the most abhorrent thing. These are insane experiences, and they are told so well. Believe the hype, absolutely. It's a really well written book, but oh my god, is it heartbreaking, this poor woman, and it's absolutely amazing that she's managed to recover in some ways from this. And I also really appreciate the style of how she wrote it. So she always writes it as if she is still that child or teenager. She very much writes it from the point of view of her at that time. So we never get like an analytical thing of, oh, well, now I can understand that she did this because, or at the, there's no comparison. We are just thrown in so that we can understand what it's like to be that child. And it's just up to us as like, as grown-ups who are sensible to be like, whoa, that's not cool. So it creates this great reactions where you've got this child going, oh, I have to make mom happy. And you're like, no, you don't, no, stop, please. So yeah, fantastic writing. And it's made me interested in maybe like checking, I think she's got a podcast or something. She quit acting, and after reading this, I absolutely understand that. Yeah, don't act, for God's sake. But I am very much interested in her other creative outlets. So I think she did a stand-up show with the same title. I don't know if there's a way to find that, but yeah, I'm kind of interested in checking out her podcast. So yeah, that was a great book. So that sort of saw me through a lot of the holiday. There were, like, all the chapters are really short, which was perfect. I wrapped it up in the middle of the holiday, and then I wrapped up the Aubrey Gordon book, and by the time I got here, I was all done, and my story graph had like nothing in the currently reading, which like never happens. I was like, oh, this is strange. But I've now started Elantris. I was debating just carrying on with Mistborn Era 2, but I heard that the last one has a lot of the Easter eggs for Cosmere stuff, so I think I'm going to pause it while I catch up on some of the Cosmere stuff. So yeah, that's interesting. I think already I can see the Sanderson in it, but Sanderson not fully evolved. Like, there's a lot of... And I've not heard anyone mention this, but there's a lot of fancy words, explanations, names. And it's like, I've seen TikTok skits about this, where it's like, oh, the general of blah, 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 who is a blah, 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 with the blah, 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 blah. You know, when you're starting a book. So there's a lot of that. I'm like, I feel like this wasn't an issue with his other books. So yeah, maybe it's that early writer thing of being like, oh, I've done all this world building and there's a word for everything. So I'm hoping that's... I mean, it's a fancy book, I'll ease into it. Like, if there's words I don't learn, it's fine. It's not a problem. That's sort of where I'm at with fantasy books. I learned to, if I don't understand something straight away, that's okay. Like, I'll either figure it out later or I won't. It's okay. And then we have it. I think that's it. So this actually ended up being a longer video than I expected. So I'll leave it there, and I will do another video that is a bit of a supercut of the holiday portion. I wasn't really filming fully in mind to do a video, so that will probably end up being quite short. I have filmed a apartment tour, but I'm gonna upload that once I've moved on to Tokyo. So I'm gonna be here for 6 weeks and then Tokyo for like 2.5. So that's gonna come later. I've got some fun ideas. I would really like to try and do some foodie stuff, so we'll see if that works out. And I guess that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Look forward to Japan stuff. Tell me if there are any Japan related books you want me to read while I'm out here. That would be really cool. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!